Yes, good evening, people. It's the Armoury TV. We're back with another episode. It's a match reaction. Let's get into it. Yes, what we saying? What we saying? It's Gumsa, and I've got my guy Brenny with me. How you keeping, bruv?
All good, man. All good. Can't,
Yeah.
I'm still smiling after yesterday.
Yeah, it's a good start to the weekend. Just want to say before we start though, just really apologies for yesterday. We was meant to do the stream last night, but something came up for me and I had to rush out and yeah, wasn't able to do the stream. So we're here. It's 24 hours later than we wanted it to be, but we're still here. Um, as most of you know, Arsenal went away to Selhurst Park last night. Start off the Premiership. The Sky Sports knew what they was doing, putting this on the Friday night game again. They knew exactly what they was doing, but Arsenal silenced them and a lot of the critics. So yeah, 2-0 victory. First thoughts. Um, what was your reaction to it?
It was, I thought it was a very controlled performance. I mean, yeah, Ramsdale made a couple of saves, but I didn't think we was in any trouble last
No,
night. I didn't think we looked comfortable. I know there was a couple of times I saw us, we were split open, and then Ramsdale did what he had to do. But I was happy with the performance, and I thought, well, we're just still, still clear up the cobwebs. You know what I mean? Because I think we can perform better,
yeah,
and I'm just glad we got the job done. 3 points, clean sheet.
yeah, definitely. And just to echo on what you said, was listening to I had to do a drive last night, so I just had radio on, talk sport, listened to other interviews, and a lot of ex pros came out and said first game of the season is very, very difficult. And actually, I think it was Bonglahorn and someone else said you shouldn't even be looking at your performance first game. It's just about getting that win. They said it's the most difficult game of the season sometimes, and um, we discovered it last year. Do you know what I mean? It was a horrible game last year to play in, and yeah, credit to the guys for getting over the line because, like you said, we didn't play badly at all. They didn't create much, but they did have two good opportunities. And Ramsdale, do you know what I mean? Done what he's meant to do, and that's the importance of having a keeper is he can save you points throughout the season. Especially the Eze chance. That was, to be fair, Eze should have done better with the finish. And then again, when you
Yeah,
look at it, Martinelli should have scored one before as well. So I
that's
think
right.
we well deserved victory from us. And yeah, clean sheet's very important, isn't it? Like just to kind of, I don't know how you felt pre-season. It was like, are we this good or a team's that bad? And I think going into the first game, getting a clean sheet just cements that actually this team is strong. Um, And yeah, football wise, first half, I was impressed with how he played. What was your thoughts on the first half performance?
First off, I thought we should have been at least maybe 3-0 up, pulling up. I mean, that Martinelli chance. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
I mean, Gabriel Jesus did all the hard work,
yeah,
and I looked at it. I thought we deserve a goal here. And then
yeah,
when it broke to Martinelli, I thought that's it, 1-0, and that wasn't the case. I'm just
mm,
so glad he made up for it minutes later with
definitely.
the what I called the George Graham set piece.
Yeah, yeah,
It just reminded me of that. It reminded me of the George Graham days, with the first goal.
yeah,
Definitely,
yeah.
you
No,
know.
and I'm happy for him. Because again, preseason he didn't score as many as the others, especially in the game with the 6-0. He could have easily took on the chance where he set up Nketiah. So I think it was good for him to get the goal because I've got no doubt about Jesus and Saka are going to contribute. So yeah, it's good to see him get off the score sheet. Um,
Oh, definitely.
Thoughts on Jesus? Because I thought he was electric in that first half.
Oh, I'll tell you what, that guy. Wow, he put in. Look, I love Aubameyang, and I was a fan of Lacazette as well. But
Yeah,
those two in the seasons that they were with us, what I saw last night from Jesus, we're going to be seeing that every game. Win, lose,
Yeah,
or draw, we're going to be seeing that kind of energy. It was just like the Alexis Sanchez, and I said a few weeks ago to you as well, Ian, right? We're going to
yeah,
be seeing that week in, week out from Gabriel Jesus. And I can see 20 plus goals this season from him in all competitions.
yeah. No, I agree. Do you know what? I knew he's a good player, and I'll be honest, I first went to hold my hands up when we was first linked. I thought, I think he can probably go out there and get better.
Mm,
Um, and then watching him a bit more, I thought actually he is a player. Like I'm being maybe I'm being a bit critical of him. But since he's come in, I wasn't expecting what I'm seeing from him. In all honesty, you knew his attributes, but
mm,
his whole link up play, the way he turns defenders when the ball's coming in, do you know what I mean? He just creates space and he starts to drive off. A lot of time when we're transitioning, it's kind of starting from him now. He's picking up the ball deep, spinning
yeah.
and going, and yeah, he's looking like such a threat at the moment. And again, price tag of 45 million with 1 year left of his contract. I'm thinking, are we paying a bit too much for someone with a year left? Like we've seen it with Arsenal, our players go for cheap when they've got 12 months left. But
Yeah.
I think Man City knew the market. They know there's not much strikers out there. So actually, even if he's got 1 year left, you've got to pay a premium for him because you're not going to find anyone else. So we're seeing Chelsea now struggling to find a striker, and even United, they've now turned to it looks like Sesko, who's like a 19-year-old kid, who they're going to try and bring in. PSG just brought that Ekiti in, who's another youngster. So there is a shortage of strikers out there. So actually, yeah, that money now doesn't look like a problem to me at all. Like it looks actually like we've got him at a very, very good price because he's an unbelievable player, and I think he's going to go from strength to strength and take us to the next level. What we saying, Mr. King?
GT, the man.
Can you hear us, King?
Yeah, man.
I'm sure he's back in.
Can you hear me
All
all
good,
right?
all good. Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah, yeah. So we're just saying about first. Give us a quickly wrap up. You got 2 minutes. First half performance, and then we touched on Gabriel because again, I think the first half performance was the Gabriel show. Oh, he's
Sorry.
gone again. Yeah, yeah, go on.
Yeah, sorry, say that again.
So yeah, we literally. I said you got 2 minutes because we literally just spoke about the first half, and then we spoke a bit about Jesus because the first half it was the Jesus show. So yeah, what's your thoughts on the first half and Jesus in particular?
Jesus looked really sharp in the first half. He looks really settled, finding some good positions, causing the opposition defense problems. He was fluidly drifting wider to the right side. You know, with Martinelli coming in, you know, as a second striker, it was flitting between being 4 and being 3 at the back. And that kind of just gave him all sorts of freedom. That's what I really liked about his movement.
Fluid.
Yeah, very difficult to track. But yeah, I was impressed with his first performance.
You break it up a little bit. But yeah, no, I think what you said it kind of sums it up. The fluidity between kind of the whole attacking team. Do you know what I mean? We look at different proposition at the moment. Last year we won games, but we wasn't always looking great. Or we were drawing, and like I remember Palace last year, they absolutely battered us at the Emirates, and we snuck a 2-2 draw. And Lacazette saved the day. It's kind of night and day watching us play at the moment. Like it's a complete different team. I think I was saying start of enjoying preseason is we haven't been tested. Like Gabriel and Saliba have looked really good, but they haven't been tested.
No,
And this was a test. Like
it was.
after we scored, we kind of gave up possession a little bit cheaply. Ramsdale, a couple of dodgy moments, and then Palace kind of grew into the game. There was also they played a lot of diagonal balls as well. I haven't seen that from them. They was really hitting them diags and trying to get kind of Saha isolated with Ben White and AU on the other side. And we defended again. 2 chances we really gave up. Do you know what I mean? One was from a cross, and the other one, Odegaard found himself at right back. I'm not too sure how that happened, but Odegaard was on the right side. And he got cut open again, not defensively aware, and Eze should have done better. But the boys at the back really stood up, and it feels nice to be able to see a display like that from defensively. And
Defensively, we looked something else. We looked something else.
Yeah. So yeah, so for me, it was good to see Saliba. Let's talk about him because
Oh,
everyone's. And again, me and Kimmy watched him last week, and again, the tackle on Saha. I know it was just a one-off isolated moment, but do you know what I liked about it? He didn't just win the ball; he left it on Saha. Do you know what I mean? He let him know you're stepping into my zone right now, and it's not going to end well for you. Like
Do you know
he
what that was
really
symbolic
broke.
of? That
Go
tackle
on.
for me was symbolic of the systemic change in
yeah.
in the defense from the
Mm,
3-0 defeat and the 2-2 last season to where we
yeah.
are now, just with him being there.
Mm,
Yeah, he was.
mm,
It wasn't just that tackle. In that moment, I realized this defense has gone. He's taken the scruff of that defense and he's raised it another 2 notches just from
Yeah.
being there,
he's elevated. Yeah.
doing what he
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
saw in that tackle. In that moment, there was that realization. The pin dropped. Everything. Because for me, it really started last week. I think you've seen how excited I've been about Saliba since going to watch us play against Sevilla, and then just being, I did a whole show on it after we had done a preview, by the way,
Yeah.
just on him. Like because I was just like, I've like what I'm seeing here is something. And look, I've had a load of people say, look, it's a one game, you got to keep your feet on your ground. And I'm like, listen, I watched him in France. I watched him play for France. So don't bring that chat around me, please. And
Yeah.
Mm.
I said, if he can transfer that into the Premier League, we've got a very good defender. Now, people are saying it's just Palace, right? But if you isolate and just look at Palace's attack in isolation,
Ridiculous.
yeah,
Yeah.
Zaha,
I,
Benteke, Edward, you know what I mean?
Edward.
You've got Elise, when he's fit, Eze.
Eze. Yeah.
These are
Even
fast,
even Jeffrey Schluck's
strong,
a handful.
powerful, technical players, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
that have the capacity when they're fluidly moving around, which Vieira had them doing. They are as good as anyone in attack in the league. Like it might be defense in the midfield and their other areas and their inexperience, whatever that lets them down. But those attacking players they are good on their day. They can be as good as anyone. And Saliba I don't even think he's let him out his back pocket yet.
He's comfortable. He was comfortable. What about you, Dave? What about you? Sorry, not Dave. Dave must be saying yes, guys. And he's in the comments. Hope you're well, Dave. But yeah,
Yeah.
Brenny. What about yourself? Like, what's your thoughts on Saliba? Do you see him being the mainstay? Because again, it start of the pre-season, you're kind of saying it's White and Gabriel with Saliba as the third. I know it's only one Premiership game, but is Saliba putting himself in that position to say, actually, I'm the one that's undroppable right now, and actually White and Gabriel, you two have got to battle it out for who plays next to me.
You know what, G? 100%. I with Saliba, I think because I think it looks like him and Gabriel right now. I actually thought that even though when GK did a little something yesterday, and I basically said to him who I thought the starting 11, we all agreed who the starting 11, what the starting 11 was going to be. So I just thought myself, because of Zaha, I didn't actually think Ben White was actually going to play right back, to be honest with you. I thought he was going to be in the middle with Gabriel and Saliba would deal with Zaha.
Yeah,
But Ben White, at the end of the day, didn't have any problems.
he done really well.
He did really well. And if there were problems, then at the end of the day, I look at it, we've got a clean sheet. So
Yeah,
we've done our job defensively,
100%.
regardless of what we've what we had to deal with. So Saliba he's come back to the Arsenal now, and it's as if to say, yeah, I've cemented my place, and I will be starting against Leicester, and you will expect the same performance I gave against Palace. You will see. He's saying to us fans, you'll be seeing that against Leicester at home.
Yeah,
So I think he's cemented it really.
yeah. No, I agree. And this is the kind of thing we want. It's not about, for me, like you play the best two. I think that three will rotate naturally. There will be plenty of rest for one of them. Do you know what I mean? Once Tomiyasu's back, you might see Ben White deploying it right back a bit more. You might see Saliba that's missing one game, not like being dropped and it's now Ben White and Gabriel for the next 5. It might just be like 1 game rest. Like actually, this one they haven't got the bigger striker. They might have a smaller striker. So actually, Saliba, we don't need the physical presence that you bring to this game. So actually, you might rest this game, and then next game might be Gabriel. So I do think we're going to see a bit more rotation because I think all 3 of them have got their qualities. And people are. I don't like how people have been talking about Ben White like it's a foregone conclusion he won't start.
Nah, he's got a big part to play this season.
Yeah. And so I think it's
totally
just,
agree with that last statement, Gumsa.
It's a nice problem to have. It's a nice problem to have, isn't it? To say you've got 3 centre backs at the moment and I think maybe it's just the Arsenal way. We're so desperate to try and find a problem in the club. It's like the Gabriel slander. I've been one who's saying he'd be the one that's under threat the most at the moment out of the back 3 or the 3 centre backs. And Silver Fox is agreeing with me at the moment. And it's not to say he's not a good defender and he has got immense quality, Gabriel. But that's how good Saliba and Ben White have been for me. So Silver Fox is saying Saliba was immense. He's done exactly what I've asked him to do. That's including his loan spells. Arteta has managed him superbly. Gabriel still worries me. But yeah, I think Gabriel does complement and he's got the natural left foot. But
you got to remember, like all of them are young. You know, there's going to be mistakes in there. There's going to be nervy moments. This is the reality. And what I liked yesterday, I'm going to keep going back to this. A year ago, when I got chased out of town on this channel for suggesting using a 3 against Palace at home, it's exactly what he did yesterday. When you've got less experienced defenders, sometimes when we play against the stronger teams, we're going to use all 3 of them as centre backs. You know, it's Saka.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say there are 3 centre backs.
I think he's bombing forward in midfield. You know, like, but
I wouldn't say it's 3 centre backs though. It's definitely a 4. But again, it's just the fluidity we play with, isn't it? There will be times where they sit like a 3, and Zinchenko tucks in and makes a 3 in midfield. It's just very much about
no. But even on the other side, there was a moment in the first half where Zaha had got on the other side of White, and Saka was like really close, and he just ran in and just bam, just cleared the ball.
Yeah,
like Saka was tucking in on that side to make it a 3.
Yeah, they move around, and again, even at times I see Xhaka almost playing like the left back at certain stages. I think there's just a fluidity, and it's that element of, I say it to my boys all the time when I'm coaching, if you see a problem, don't point the finger, go and do it first and we address it later. So if, for instance, again, that was Odegaard found himself at right back, do you know what I mean? It was shape of the team, right? I have to sit in there until we can reshape up. But I hear what you're saying. There is a big fluidity, and I do think there's triggers when we're playing to say, actually, we're going to shape it up a bit different, double up. Like Saka's got to double up with Zaha. You can't leave him one-on-one with anybody. Do you know what I mean? So he was naturally a bit deeper at certain stages. And again, this is the tactical kind of brilliance of Arteta, where they say he is meticulous in how he plans. He would have planned for every scenario. Do you know what I mean? Saka, if you're close enough, you double up and help out. Actually, if you're now up the pitch and you can't, then Saliba, you've got to get closer. And when when Zaha did get the better of Ben White, Saliba was a couple of yards away to just help out. Do you know what I mean? And there seems to be something really growing within this team at the moment, which I love to see. Who else? We spoke about Gabriel. We've spoken about Gabriel Jesus. We've spoken about Saliba. Who else for you stood out in that game? King, I'll go to you first.
I think Martinelli, like the fluidity of his movement, definitely stood out to me, because he was drifting between being that wing forward and a centre forward. He was pretty tireless, with his running, fairly good on the ball. But Zinchenko, man,
he's good. He's quality.
That's the guy, man.
I
think that would probably be, other than Saliba, for me, he was a standout player, definitely.
Yeah. How about you, Brenny? Anyone else stand out for you?
Oh, for me, Thomas Partey.
Yeah.
Thomas Partey looks like himself again, because he was quietly doing the job in midfield, running the midfield, and with Xhaka. And you know what? I prefer it if no one talks about Thomas Partey, because he can just get on with his job.
Yeah,
you know what he can do. For me, he's one of the top 5, probably even in the top 3 defensive midfielders in the country. People would laugh when we say that, but no, This guy is absolute quality. And I think he would have looked at it with a lot of satisfaction, thinking, you know what? I had a mare of a game against Palace last time. We lost. He went off injured. But I tell you what, he bossed it yesterday. Oh, my goodness.
I'm going to bring the poll up first, and I'll give you my thoughts on Partey. So, Armoury's done a little poll. I haven't actually seen what the figures are, but it's a man of the match poll. Let's see what it reads like.
Wow.
It's pretty emphatic. Jesus 2%,
almost unanimous, yeah.
Saliba 95%, Zinchenko 3%, and other 1%. And that's from 151 votes. So yeah, Saliba, he was the standout. But I do agree with you. I think Partey is so vital for us, and teams have to be careful when they press when we play with Partey. Whereas before, when you've seen El Nene and people like that, and the press, people are relentless. They just go. But Partey, you can't do that. Like, he will come out, and what if he comes out or opens up with a pass, you're killed. So it just makes teams think twice about pressing us, don't it? Which allows us to kind of dictate a bit more. So yeah, I'm hoping he can stay fit. I think we've really got to manage him really well. Again, there'll be games where he may just have to come out. Not to say there's an easy game in the Prem, but there might be some games where he said actually he needs to come out of this game because we can't afford for him to break down again. No. And even getting a replacement, we all say it, we need to get another DM in, but it's not going to be as easy to get that person who could play as similar to Partey as we think, just with that confidence and quality. Because everything goes through him, everything. As a defender, when you know you've got someone in front of you who just says, "Give me the ball under any situation, I'll take care of it," it takes so much pressure off you, because even when now I'm backed into a corner, I could just lend it to him and know it's going to be safe. Whereas I think when we had the Mustafis and Louises, they never really had anybody like that since Cazorla left, where they just says, "Give me the ball and I'll transition us out." And we suffered for that. We really did. So fingers crossed Partey can stay fit. But yeah, I said I'm liking what I'm seeing. Really am. In terms of Arteta, what's your thoughts on him yesterday? Do you think he got it kind of spot on?
Yeah, he got it right. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. And I keep talking about, the process of iteration that's taking place at Arsenal. None more so is that taking place than with the manager. Like I get called an Arteta sexual, like someone that is always going to back him no matter what.
Yeah, I'm there.
I back him. He's not perfect, but the thing is, sometimes you make a mistake, you learn from it. I think you look at against Villarreal, in that semi-final, chopped and changed, completely changed his formation, tried to be too cute. It didn't work out. Last season, what do you see happening more? He starts sticking with the same 11, a lot more often than not. So I think what you're seeing now is, now that he knows who his best players are. Yesterday, he did make a tactical tweak of that kind of free where Saka and Zinchenko had to tuck in when in the defensive transition. He did change the shape a bit. He did tweak slightly from the Sevilla game how we played and how we set up. And now that he knows who his best players are, it's okay to do that. You know what I mean? But he was doing it at the time when he was doing it. He didn't know who his best 11 was. And then he's trying to adapt a system when the current system, he's not even sure who his best players are. That doesn't breed confidence into the players that are then being asked to do something slightly different from the last game, if that makes sense. So
I agree with you.
He's definitely learning, man. He's learning very quickly.
And I don't even know if it's him learning as much. I think he's now got the tools where he can implement his style. I think, because I don't think anything he's doing is not what he had done previously. But again, when you're asking Callum Chambers to do it or Bellerin to do it,
I'm not talking about learning a new skill. I'm talking about learning when to do things, like the timing of making certain decisions and choices. I feel like his decision making
I hear what you're saying. My combat here is what that game. I know a game is that game talk about Villarreal where we didn't have much options, so he tried to put Smith Rowe in the false 9.
Yeah.
And again, that's because a lack of quality of players around. Do you know what I mean? If you have the correct players, or Martinelli's fit, Martinelli does the job. Do you know what I mean? It's that element of you can only succeed with certain tools. Do you know what I mean? If you haven't got the right tools, you then have to find a solution.
Mm.
Again, now with someone like Zinchenko, we can maybe adapt certain things again because he's adaptable. Saka, you've seen Saka play wing back. I mean, left wing back, right wing back. Like he can kind of, wherever he kind of plays football, he is just looking like a player. And it's I think we've now got certain tools in the toolbox where you can adapt things. And again, it's the understanding of we have seen it before in Arteta. Was it Chelsea or Liverpool where you played that fluid back three, which transitioned to a back four, and it was seamless when they done it last season. So I think it's just the players, and maybe the players are just buying into it a bit more now as well. It's like I think there was a time where we've all probably sat there saying, "Do the players believe in Arteta?" Do you know what I mean? There was a time where you're thinking the board might actually chop him now. Like we've got 4 or 5 games without a win. It's that, and the board backed him. And I think from that moment, I think the players brought in and said, "We know this guy's not going. He's here. Look, he's got. It's like Aubameyang's gone. Do you know what I mean? If they're going to get rid of Aubameyang, they would easily get rid of me. And actually, we've got to buy into it. And since then, it looks like a complete different. Yeah, it's just everything just looks different at the moment in this club, and I'm here for it. I really am. So just jump to some comments quickly. We've got Silver saying Saliba has shown maturity. Look how he stays calm. There are times he got Gabriel out of jail, and that could build a strong partnership. Gabs is still young himself, and that is the truth. I think I am sometimes overcritical on Gabriel. I've said it with Saka's decision making, and I forget they're babies still. Like watching the documentary, we made me realize how young Saka is. Like him and Smith Rowe talking, it makes you realize these boys are kids. Like, and I don't even know how many games Saka's got under his belt, but at 20, 21 years old to have that much game time and be the focal point at this, I mean, the main man at this club is, it's crazy. So I, for one, have got my hands up sometimes. Maybe I put a bit too much expectation on these boys. Silver Fox is saying, have a look out for Zinchenko and Xhaka. They have a strong partnership and backed each other well. Amondi's in the building. Hope you're well, Amondi. Real pleasing performance. And yeah, you obviously they're in action tomorrow against Brighton. That's not an easy game.
Nope.
Brighton, they're one of our bogey teams, aren't they? Brighton always give us trouble.
Especially in their stadium.
Yeah.
The Amex Arena. Sorry, I don't know why my mind went blank there, and I've forgotten what the name of the stadium was. But yeah, the Amex Arena, man.
Yeah. It's not a place.
Terrible place to go, man.
Definitely.
But I was speaking to Amondi knows this guy. I was speaking to Hakeem. He's a United fan. Wise one earlier. Like Amondi knows him from this group we're in together, and he was saying, he thinks Palace. He called it an quote unquote the most jankro place to go away from home. Yeah, Selhurst Park, the most hospitable environment to go and play football as an away team. I don't know about that, but it's definitely up there.
Yeah, I think Anfield's the place, but there's something about Selhurst Park. Again, it's a smaller pitch. The fans are on top of you. Like again, even if you look at Palace's team, they're very athletic. I know you said it earlier, King, about how strong and physical their players are. So even going into that environment where it's not nice. And for me, yesterday, I spoke to a friend who's a United fan, and I said, you know what? To get a 2-0 win there, that's one of the places you don't want to go. We've got rid of it early. We've got the result. I could tick that off and move past it. I'm just happy. We ain't got, you look at the season and say, we ain't got to go Selhurst Park now. That's it. We've done it. And I think United will get that tomorrow saying, right, we're done with Amex. We ain't got to go to Amex. That's one of them horrible grounds we haven't got to go to.
I think they'll win there as well. I think they will win.
Yeah, see, it'd be interesting to see how Brighton do without Basuma because he got through a lot of work. I remember watching him against Tottenham last year. The way he screened out Harry Kane, it's going to be hard to replace that.
No Basuma, no Cucurella.
Yep.
Yeah, 2 big players. TikTok Lacazette saying he's seen links to Goncalo Guedes as the mystery winger. Silver Fox was saying about this earlier, and I know Silver Fox
has been speaking about him for months, bro. So I got to big him up for that, man.
Yeah, so fingers crossed. We'll see who comes in. No, none of us really know what's really going on. Oh, hold on, we've made a mistake. United are at home against Brighton.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, I was speaking more in general, but I knew the game was at Old Trafford.
Yeah. And just a question here before we kind of run a quick player rating. Will the All or Nothing series get fans on side? Even though it ends badly, what do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason being, I think the main thing, I think a lot of people are like, Arteta's a soft touch. A lot of the things that I hear Arteta out is, I don't like dividing our fan base, by the way, but I'm just gonna, people that don't want Arteta to be there. One of the main critiques of him is his man management ability.
Yeah.
And situations where players like Oba and Guendouzi and these guys have left, where they say, look, a more experienced and better manager handles those situations and those players better. But I think actually getting an inside view and seeing it from the perspective of being a fly on the wall and seeing like actually it was the players. Like, well, not all Arteta, but like not all, it's not all on Arteta, but there's more on the players than that crash kind of observation has given it credit for. I think it will actually give you like an inside view into all the plates he's spinning, man, and what he is actually dealing with.
One thing that I took away from that, and we'll come to you in a minute, Brenny. Sorry to cut you, Chris. Is and it's a great question, Amondi. The management side of it seems to be more psychological than it is actual tactical.
Yeah.
Like if you watch all his speeches, it's not. I know they would have done the work beforehand. They would have had the meetings, but the day before about how we're going to do this, how we're going to defend Saha and the rest of it. But it's so much mental, isn't it? The stories before. I love the bit when they brought in the photographer to give the speech. Like, I think the Edu was speaking to Kroenke, and he said Arteta seems a bit more hands-on with the players, where he's actually talking to them a bit more and giving them hugs and that niceness. Because again, he might have come up again. Your first job, we've all done it as management. You get told you can't be friends with them. You're the manager. You've got to be strong and this, that, and the other. And I think Arteta probably came in like that, like the disciplinarian, didn't he? But you start seeing it now. He's had his arm around Saka a bit. He's talking to them. He spoke to the physio and say, "Can we try and get Tavares to open up a bit more?" He's not really opening up. He needs. So you can see it's so much to manage, isn't it? Like each player you have to treat as an individual. It's not just I can come in with authority and walk out again. I think those days at Alex Ferguson have kind of long gone, where your number two and that do a lot more of the work. It seems like Arteta has a good relationship with the players, and I agree with you, King. Like, I think he's handled them situations how he's meant to handle them situations. In all honesty, I know me and you have been very much. If the players' disciplinary record's wrong, he's got to go. Like, no one's bigger than the club. Don't care who you are. Like, we've got young, impressionable players. The last thing we need is this guy getting away with murder. Because what does it tell Saka? What does it tell Smith Rowe? Brenny, what about yourself? Again, it's a great question, Monday.
You know what, guys? I've watched the first 3 episodes, and you know what? Well, like you say, it's like, yeah, man. When it comes to the psychological side of it, it's just, that's kind of deep. But I also thought that Arteta sounded more like Pep, because obviously we've seen the Manchester City one, and it's kind of on that level. You know what I mean? With what he wants from his players. And with Arteta, like I've told you already, I'm not his biggest fan. But at the end of the day, I'm one of those that's, hey, if he's doing a business for Arsenal Football Club, I'm happy. I can't be one of them fans that's just want to look for an excuse to just dislike him as much as I can if he's doing right by the club and doing well for us. I cannot do that. I will quickly add, being an old school fan, I was 11 years old when George Graham first came to the club. And I'm like, I knew George Graham played for Arsenal. I knew he'd won a double. So I knew about Arsenal's history as a kid. And then it's like, okay, where are we going to go with this? Is he going to do better than what Don Howe did? And then within 4 or 5 months, we were top of the league. We were top of the league for ages. We were a young side with some experienced players, including David O'Leary, Steve Williams, Graham Ricks. And then we finished 4th in the league, but then we won the Littlewoods Cup, beating Liverpool 2-1. And I'm like, you know what? George Graham's onto something here. He's onto something. I'm like, if he keeps carrying on in this mode with the players that we got, because he brought in quality, but wouldn't buy youngsters because we had quality youngsters. And then it was just a case of, you know what? The following season, we got to a Littlewoods Cup final, finished 6th. We didn't beat, obviously we lost to Luton. And then the following year, his 3rd year, we won the title. So I'm not saying, we're going to do that with Arteta, but at the same time, I see what Mikel Arteta wants now from the players. And it's in that same mode because I think what he's looking at now is we've got in Zinchenko, we've got in Jesus. I think what I personally feel we're going to get 2 more players in at least, but they're going to be players who have been there, done it, quality players. That's what we want because we've got the youngsters now. You know what I mean? And from that, and obviously from that documentary, I'll tell you who impressed me the most: Josh Kroenke. Josh
Yeah,
Kroenke, the Cronkies, I weren't a fan of the Cronkies. And then I'm thinking, they don't care about our club. They don't, they don't want us to do well. They only care about what goes on in America with their NFL and their baseball or hockey, whatever. I was so impressed to see Josh Kroenke at the club because forget his dad. Josh must have looked at it and must have spoken to his dad and think, you know what, Dad, I want Arsenal to be successful.
yeah,
I want them to do something. I want us to help them do something, to achieve something, bring in the players that they need. And I think it's forget Stan. I think it's solely on Josh is why we've got the players in so far in this window, and I still think we'll get a couple more.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think Josh is you can see there's been a clear part of the strategy where Josh is he's the custodian of the Kroenke estate, of the family. Like he's the guy that's staying in London. He's the guy that's making regular trips here. He's like the kind of conduit between Arteta, the board, Edu, Vinay, and Stan, if that makes sense. While Stan's in America and is very much being hands-on with the franchise arm of the sporting groups that they have ownership of in America, Josh is very much the guy now. And I think, as I said, people think it's just money, that is like warm me to the Kroenkes. It's not. It's the transparency, like it is seeing him do more interviews and talk about the plan, like it is seeing Edu doing the same. Arteta is. I'm seeing a lot more transparency from them ever since last summer. I think, when I think things had to break. I think the breaking point, I think we reached that perfect storm moment when we tried to get in the Super League. West Ham and Tottenham finished above us, and Chelsea won the Champions League. In that one, felt like this all happened in succession of like 3-4 months.
Yeah,
Like so. I think the all or nothing thing had already been agreed. So it was like, oh my god, like we're going to be under this scrutiny with all of this happening. So I think they've sat down. They've clearly said, look, this is how we're going to structure things. Josh, you're going to very much just be the guy that looks after Arsenal. Like Arsenal's your baby. Like I almost feel like they're gonna hand it to him. Do you know what I mean? Like father son kind of thing. Like this is your business now, isn't it? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this part of my estate, I'm entrusting to you. Do you know what I mean? You are the leader. Like you're like anything you want to do. I'm not gonna. Stan Kroenke isn't gonna question his decision. Like he's not gonna veto anything unless he's doing something drastic.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, but as long as everything that he's doing is in keep with the upkeep of Arsenal Football Club, Josh is the one in control. And what that does is it makes a rule by committee a bit easier because that committee doesn't have too many chefs.
I was just going to come to that.
You get what I'm saying?
I was just going to come to that. I'll ask you now because there was a stage when Emery was in. We had a massive team, which was Edu was a part of it. There was Mislintat. There was Vinay. There was about 5 of them, and it was all like they had certain roles. And again, this is when we saw them transfers coming in. And Mislintat was meant to be the next best. Well, was the hottest thing coming from Dortmund. Do you know what I mean? His record was unbelievable. But if you see what they brought in and what we was doing at that time, it was a mess. And I think Josh has to take some credit of actually scrapping that idea they had and just believing in what Edu's vision of the club. Because I think he needs a lot of praise as well, Edu. Like I think even hearing him talk in the last interview, and he wasn't happy where Arsenal was, and he's not saying he loves Arsenal. Obviously, he's played at the club, so he knows Arsenal. If that makes sense, he knows what a winning Arsenal team is, and when he's coming in and saying what you guys are doing at the moment is wrong, we need to get back to whatever it is. Like I think that goes very far to where we are now, because that route we was going down with that board we had, it that looked a shambles. And again, we were signing players for crazy. This is the Saha Pepe debacle, isn't it? Because the manager says I want Saha. The board are trying to save money. There's talks of whoever was getting money in the Saha deal. Like there's a lot of. Do you know what I mean? That it just looked a mess. And like you're saying, there were so many different chefs in the kitchen. Do you feel like Kroenke's kind of stepped in and said, this isn't working this way, and actually we're gonna just believe in. And again, Edu's got an experience, hasn't he? He's been at the club, and for me, it's night and day again of where we was and where we are now. So again, I think that's kind of what you're saying just now, isn't it, King?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you know, that restructure and that reorg has been important. You know, within the Kroenke family itself, in how the delegation of control and power works, how the ideas are communicated to Stan, but Stan or Josh not being present in the previous years wasn't working. Like not having a presence. I'm not talking about sitting there and being at every game. I'm talking like the presence here, the close communication with the people in control of the football club. And I think what you saw in the All or Nothing documentary is, for all the talk that they don't care about the club, and you know they're not, you know, you could see that they're there, they're present, they're always in communication with Edu and Mikel, you know, like throughout it in many places, you know, like, so I think that can always be improved upon. By the way, I'm not saying that's perfect, but from where it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, it's in a much better place.
Yeah, and again,
everyone's singing from the same hymn sheet, you know.
And I think that's the important thing, because again, that structure we had before was the head coach structure, which Emery got brought into. This is the team that deals with the behind the scenes, it deals with the transfers, it deals with all of that stuff. All you've got to do, Emery, is come in and coach. And Arteta came in under that system, but if you remember, after his first season, they scrapped it and said, actually, we're going to make Arteta the manager, not the head coach. They changed his contract. Do you remember, after his first season? So do you think, Brenny, like that's kind of showed that something wasn't working and we're going to try something different? And like you're saying, King, everything seems to be in unison now. It seems like Edu and Arteta have a good working relationship. It seems like Edu and the Kroenkes have a good relationship. So, yeah, how important do you reckon that was for us going forward?
Oh, that was very important. I mean, you can see there has been changes. Like so, with documentary, you can see exactly what they're trying to do, and it has changed from a couple of years before, and now I feel it's like, you know what, you get some managers, okay, regardless of experience or not, who take over at a club and hit the ground running. Now with Mikel, what we've seen from the documentary and what he was trying to implement to his players, um, it didn't always work. I mean, obviously, from last season, we know what happened with regards to how many wins, draws, defeats we had. But now it's as if he's saying, you know what? Now I've got my squad, and I'd still like a couple more in, or maybe three, so we can see the changes. And
Yeah,
and I tell you what, like I said already, I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy with him, with results like last season with the Forest game, the Villarreal game, the season before, and everything else. But you know what? When I see that, now I see what he's trying to do. Let's see where we go. Let's see where we go this season.
definitely,
And
definitely.
if it doesn't work out by the time the season's done, if it doesn't work out in the end and he's got to go, he's got to go. But at the end of the day, I feel now with what he's got, I see, yeah, man, I see big teams.
Yeah, no, definitely. And with what you said earlier about a manager can come in and hit the ground running, I
Yeah,
think it helps when you've got a good team. And I don't think our team was good then. Like, I could look at a Chelsea team which won a league or won the Champions League. The next season, Mourinho says fallen off. The
yeah.
next manager coming in, that's a Champions League winning team. So actually, the
Mm,
new manager coming in can work with that and go and hit the ground running. But you're coming into David Luiz,
yeah,
Mustafi, like
yeah.
guys like that, it doesn't matter what manager you get in there, they can only do
Ozil
so much with
declined.
that. Do you know what I
Well,
mean? If
Ozil
you,
with his
I
best
say,
years behind him. Lacazette with his best years behind him.
yeah,
You know what
Bellerin,
I mean? Like, you know,
Chambers, like
yeah.
it
well,
was a
guys, I know we're going way back, but it's like when Arsene Wenger first came in, he actually had the defense.
yeah, he had the back line,
And
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah, and he brought in Patrick Vieira, Remy Gard. So he did tweak it a bit from Bruce Rioch.
yeah,
And with those players, it was like we finished third. And then I said to myself, in that summer in '97 when he brought in Mark Overmars, I know Paul Merson left at the time, and I mean, well, I know Paul Merson personally, but I was sad to see him go. But I just thought, you know what? I think Wenger could do something here. I didn't expect a double, but I thought we'd
yeah,
be challenging for the title. You know what I mean? 97-98 season was just the amazing season
mm,
for for all of us. So Wenger more or less had the players, but he didn't need to do a lot.
no,
Mikel Arteta has had to work.
mm,
There's a lot he's had to do, and
definitely,
there's
definitely,
those he's
definitely,
had to get rid of. And I know there's still players that he's still looking to get rid of now because if you look at it right now at the club, we got what four right backs or four or five players that can play right back. I
yeah,
Mm.
mean, Bellerin, is he going or Maitland Ainsley Maitland-Niles, is he still going to be at club? So you know what I mean. It's
yeah,
still a lot of work he needs to do in order to. I think it's just a case of there's still a few players that need to go. Maybe for us to get two or three more players in, but
yeah. It is for me. It's a very slow market this year, isn't it? You can see a lot of the European teams don't have much money.
Alex,
Um,
No,
the,
unfortunately, like, I mean, we're veering into kind of like geopolitics and economics and
yeah,
sort of politico socio economics, but
yeah,
you've had a number of sort of things that have affected that, the Ukraine situation, with Russia, COVID, the subsequent impact that has the knock-on effect that has on the footballing economy, which was already in the run-up prior to both of these seismic events, not in a good place. Places like Italy, like
yeah,
the disparity between the TV money and prize money in England relative to the other top five European leagues was growing. It was already growing. That was already a problem, which these two situations have exacerbated further.
yeah,
They've not been able to adapt and acclimatize to the shock waves and the ripple effects and the butterfly effect of these two events, unfortunately, in the same way that the Premier League has. And this is why, like when you look at players like Bellerin, for Betis, it's not a problem to maybe scrape, forage under the mattress to find the money to buy him. It's the wages,
yeah,
because
population of both,
that's
yeah,
been the thing that's been growing massively. Is with the TV and the prize money, it's creating a massive disparity in what we can pay just average players and
yeah,
what they pay their best players in places like Italy, Spain, France, Germany. Do you know what I mean? So when it comes to those nations in normal circumstances trying to buy the players that we have in the Premier League, it was hard enough.
yeah,
And when you just saw like these two dominoes, like it's kind of we are heading towards a recession, very much, in the global kind of economy, and it's definitely got a lot of clubs in those other top five leagues very, very tentative about dipping their feet in the water and taking on too much risk,
yeah,
which is understandable, and that obviously is going to affect sort of clubs in England trying to get rid of players into the European market.
And I think
yeah,
you see that with the Mari deal with it Monza,
Yep.
who put a loan in with obligation to buy if they stay up. So they don't want to make that commitment in case they get relegated, because that 5 mil, 3 mil, whatever it is, and the wages might kill them in Serie 2. So very much, it's
Precisely.
very, yeah, it's very, very. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's got to tread carefully because you don't want to go down. And again, I don't know if they like we in England, our teams that get relegated are quite fortunate. They get a big parachute payment, where I think it's like a 50 mil the championship gives them when they first go down to make sure they stay afloat. Whereas again, I'm not too sure in Italy if that is even a thing. So
I
them
think
guys
it's
going
more than
down,
that as well. You know, that
it might
parachute
be, I
payment.
know it might be, but I just know
It's
that
closer
keeps
to
them teams
100.
afloat. Yeah, it keeps teams afloat. Whereas yeah, if you go down, and again, which team was it who went down? Sunderland, when they went down, they had them big wages on the books, and Jack Rodwell's sitting down there eating 150k in League Two.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
do you know what I mean? I'm not moving. I'm not leaving here. Like, I'm never
It's
getting these
scary.
wages elsewhere. So I'll sit here and just
Yeah.
see you suffer. So again, I'm not too sure Italy if they have certain things in place like that with like a parachute payment. So if those teams go down with some big wages, that might be the last you see of them clubs. So yeah, it is definitely a slow market.
Yeah.
But and again, what Edu was kind of saying is actually sometimes we just have to move these players on, even if we don't get what we value from them. Actually, it costs us more to keep them. So
Yeah.
yeah, time will tell. But Dave,
I sat down and I worked
Brendan, you
out
got
with a
some?
Chelsea fan, right, the other day, yeah, because
Yeah,
he was coming at me about, and I was saying, look, you know, like releasing players, like I worked out cumulatively what we would have saved, and I haven't got the exact figures to hand from keeping Leno on our books because you know Mo used to be on AFTV.
yeah,
I retweeted one of his tweets the other day where he was saying for the price that we got for Leno, because not all of that 8 million's up front.
no,
Only 3 million of it's up
yeah,
front.
it's cheap. It's
Like we
cheap.
get
Yeah,
we get 2 million if they stay up. We get another 2 million if they stay up for a second season, and then we get like another bonus somewhere, like another
yeah,
1 million bonus for something. I can't remember, yeah. But Mo was saying, you know, for that price, we would have been better off keeping him. But then I retweeted it and I said, looking at just the upfront, looking at what we get from the upfront fee, and not looking at the back end and being like, he was on 100 grand a week. Yeah. And then, like, if not looking at the back end, I think he had a year left on his contract. I think it's 5.2 million. So you've saved that. And the thing is, people play Football Manager and they play FIFA and they think that obviously, look, my dad's an accountant. Yeah, Gumsa knows this. Yeah. So,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know, like, people think that you get given a budget every year and that's how it works. You know, like in FIFA and Football Manager, you get your budget in the summer, and then you got to buy and sell players. That's not how it works. A
yeah,
club will sit down and they will financially budget and forecast for 2 3 years. Yeah, and then it won't just be the transfer budget; it will be the whole operating cost of that football club. Yeah, like the that is accounted for. Yeah, the wage bill being part of it. Now, if a player comes off the wage bill, if that 5.2 million is no longer on the wage bill, then what the manager and Edu and Vinay can do is they can then turn around to Stan and Thingy and say, right, that player's contract that we've ripped up, say with Ober, he had like 3 years left on it. That has now been factored out as an expense. So now, you know, like that, what we forecasted to spend on Ober's wages over the next 2 or 3 years, we're not spending.
yeah,
So we would like to make an upfront expenditure by buying a player based on what has come off the wage bill. Do you get what I mean?
yeah,
That's
yeah,
how the books are balanced. They're
yeah,
not balanced on a year by. Yes, it will be looked at on a financial term to term basis and in financial quarters as well of the year. But invariably, they would have budgeted and forecasted for like 2 3 4 years. Usually the length of like sponsorship deals. So it'll be like, right, we got our sponsorship money here, from like the first bit. This deal's 4 years, so we're going to roll out a budget that takes us to the end of that term of the
yeah, yeah,
sponsorship. You know what I mean? Like, so all of like the wages will be accounted for, and they'll be like, we are forecasting that this is what we're going to be paying for wages. But if that player comes off, then you can lobby to have that money reinvested. Do you see
and
what I
somewhere
mean?
else.
Like,
Yeah, it could be reinvested in the academy to say actually let's build some new training
Yeah.
facilities, or it could be in part of the stadium, whatever it is. It's yeah, it's again, it's a holistic view. It's not just you got 100 million and that's that. because again, we might have had
or like
100.
you only got 3 million for Leno. What kind of business is that? It's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you,
You had the
you're
3
paying
million for his
100 grand a
wages.
week to a guy who's playing second goalkeeper. That's
Yeah,
not financially savvy
yeah,
at all.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, that's a great take, to be fair. And again, this is more stuff we need to pick up on other shows. It's been a great show. This was meant to be 20 minutes, half an hour, but if you know the Armoury TV, you know me, you know Brennan, you know Gunner King.
Yeah, right.
30 minutes was optimistic, but it's been a great pod. So even on Monday saying the three of us have great insight, really good podcast. Appreciate it, Monday. You got some
Yes.
fans in here. They say Brendan is an wise old boy. Lex was saying you're speaking facts, so you went on a nice. We should click that up, Tony. If you got time, click that up, man. It was a great little segment you put out there just now, Brenny. So, quickly before we wrap up today, we're gonna run into some player ratings. Please just give me the score. We've got to be off the stream in 2 minutes, so just the score. We'll run through the 11 and then the sub. So we go. Gunner King, you're going first. You got Ramsdale.
I'm going to give him a 7. He made some important saves.
Yeah.
He had some shaky moments. Don't get me wrong, but I think that save at the end of the half, was it against Edward?
Header.
That header.
Yeah.
That goes in. That changes the course of the game. And yeah, I'm giving him a 7. Sorry, I forgot just the score.
It's all good. Brenny, you'll go Ben White.
I'll give him a 7. I thought he did what he had to do. I thought it was going to be a difficult evening for him, but it wasn't in the end.
Definitely. I get a Saliba then. Give him a 9. Almost. Yeah, could have got a 10 really, and honestly, but I'll give him a 9. I don't think anyone will really argue with that. King Gabriel.
I'm gonna give him a 7 as well. Yeah. You know, I think he had some shaky moments, but I think all in all, he looked comfortable. Good, forming a good partnership with Saliba and understanding, and with White as well. The three of them. So yeah, I'm giving them a 7.
Yeah, like that. And Zinchenko for Brenny.
Yeah, for me, I think it's a 7 as well, because he did well. He did really, really well in terms of going forward, and passes that he was pinging. It was like, wow. You know what? Nah, man, squash that. I'll give him an 8.
I was gonna say he got the assist as well.
I didn't want to. Yeah, at least 7.5, if not an 8. I think.
Yeah, he just didn't look in trouble. And I thought he deserved a standing ovation when he came off.
Yeah, definitely. I'll go 8. I don't think anyone deserves less than a 7 in that back line. Clean sheet against Palace and relatively controlled the game. Again, only 2 chances they really gave up, wasn't it? So I'm with that. Sorry, TV's just cut on. So next up we got, it's me, isn't it? Partey. I'm gonna go with an 8 for Partey. King Xhaka.
I'm gonna go with 7.5. I think he was good. Helped control the midfield. Had to move around in different positions, like cover for Zinchenko when he gets forward, and I don't think that's easy. Listen, he's really winning me over. I think that all or nothing as well, man. I'm starting to go to bat for him. It's weird. I feel weird doing it, man. Like these kids on my TikTok page post, like, we still need this replacement and all this. And listen, I've really, really liked this man. Like, getting to know him more from his interviews that he's done recently in the All or Nothing series, and he's a leader in that team, man. And I thought he did really well yesterday as well.
Cool. 7.5. We had discussed what you said in another stream, because I still think we can improve on him. But I agree with you. As I said to you in the stream the other day, I've got no issue starting the season with Xhaka and Partey. Like, that's what I remember we was talking the other day, and I was like, actually, other stuff needed doing first. This thing is probably the last thing we need to do, because I'm comfortable with those two, and it showed again yesterday. Them two together is a good partnership for us. So move into the number 10, Odegaard, Brenny.
I'd have to give him a 7. I think there's more to come from him. I know he's our club captain now, but in the role that he plays, I just expect a little more from him. You know what I mean? He did okay yesterday, but I'm sure there's more to come from him.
And as I know it's not my time to talk on him, but the one thing I do like, his work rate is great. So we
Yeah,
had it with Ozil. If you're not doing what you need to do, you still need to be working. And we're getting
yeah.
that with Odegaard. Even if the flicks aren't coming off, or he had a great opportunity to shoot once or twice yesterday and tried one more pass, it didn't work. But you're
If
still
he
gonna
didn't, if
get
you're right about that,
performance.
because if he didn't work, I would have given him a 5. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but you know what I mean. But yeah,
Is that
he's
a Aubameyang thing? Me and Gunnar used to say before, is like, if he's not scoring, what else is he doing? And it's almost,
yeah, yeah,
you don't
yeah.
get that with Odegaard. If he's not creating, he's still working and doing what he needs to do. So yeah, yeah, I think a 7's fair. I'll go with Saka. I'll give him a 7.5. Yeah, he's just Saka, and he never really scores less than a 7 for me, I don't think. So yeah, I think he was okay again. And the last goal killed the game. We needed that. So yeah, he gets 7.5. King, you got Martinelli.
8.
Yeah.
Definitely 8. Yeah, like I think not just for the goal. I think. Do you know what? I missed like the first 2 minutes. Yeah, I started my TikTok live to do a watch along. I was walking to the bar where I was going to watch it, and people
Yeah.
were already telling me about this Martinelli miss. So I got in.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen it. They hadn't shown a replay. Showed the replay, and then he scored. And the reason I'm giving him an 8, I just want to explain very quickly. Yeah, there was loads of people that were saying, "Oh my God, he missed that chance. He's overrated." Da 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 da.
Yeah.
Listen, this guy, what he showed that it was character. When that second chance comes along, and you've missed like a chance that might be deemed easy not to in that situation, like the strongest of minds and the most experienced of players could be forgiven for going into their shell a bit. He doesn't, and that shows
Yeah.
massive character.
He doesn't. He never hides. To be fair with Martinelli, he never ever hides, does he?
Yeah.
Brenny, you got Jesus.
For me, that's he's definitely an 8. For me, the only thing missing yesterday from him was a goal, but I thought he was brilliant yesterday. The way he pressed the back line, he just doesn't stop running. I mean, the energy he's got. I mean,
Yeah.
Palace's centre halves would probably wishing that was Lacazette on the pitch. You know what I mean?
100%.
Because he was just different gravy last night. Seriously, wow.
Yeah, I agree with that. I had the first sub, which was Sinchenko, came off for Tierney. I'll give Tierney a 7. Good to see him back out there. And I think that was the only, not criticism for the game. It was when the game was going against us, like, who are we going to bring on to change it and bring the game back in our direction? And Sinchenko did look tired. So Tierney, and again, what was nice is, you're not losing any quality with Tierney coming on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly.
So for me, that's a great substitution to have. But if we can have a few more like that, where actually teams are looking, thinking, Jesus Christ, like they've got someone better coming on right now. That's what we need to get to within the squad. So yeah, I'll give Tierney a 7. I think he was involved in the goal, like he's kind of started off the whole play. So he'll get a 7. Nketiah for you, Mr. King.
I'm going to give him a 7 as well. I think he made a few good runs, and a few incisive passes as well. Always works hard. I think that's what I'm noticing a lot more. And again, this is weird. It's winning me over. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know why you was against
how
my
long have
guy.
I just been like, just get rid of this guy, But I like it. I like it. I
love Eddie.
I like being won over. I like being humbled. In certain situations. I think I think he came on. He wasn't on for long, but he still had an influence when he was on the pitch as well.
Definitely. Brenny, we're not going to do Lukonga because he was only on for a couple of minutes, so we're going to give you Arteta.
Arteta last night, I would say I'd have to give him a 9.
Not bad.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah, and I think that's our player range. And to be fair, we wasn't at the stadium, but from what I saw, them fans were on smoke. So I'm not there, but I'm giving our away fans a 10 from what I saw, because you could hear them through the TV.
Give him 11, Gumsa. Give him 11 for 11. Give him 11 for the Zinchenko chant. You know what I'm saying?
Zinchenko chant. Yeah, they're quick. They're quick with it. They don't mess around, man. Whoever comes up
Zinchenko
with
chant this.
Have you not heard it?
Mate, to be honest, I'd had like a few, I wasn't quite taking everything in, man. Yeah.
You know the song Gold. So gold, Zinchenko.
Always believe in your soul. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the
word to know. You're indestructible.
Whoa,
Oh,
always believing.
Go. Yeah, man.
Zinchenko.
Go.
So,
That is
these guys
brilliant.
yeah,
What a
these guys
touch of
are
class that was.
yeah.
You know what I really liked about the crowd as well was the Vieira part in the end.
Yeah,
You know, like we always pay homage to him, man.
Yeah.
Always,
He's always going to be Che Capitano, man. Always massive respect for him.
forever
You know,
legend.
like,
Forever legend.
Yeah, forever.
yeah.
Man. I agree. Right. So on that note, guys, we're gonna have to wrap up. We've gone over an hour. Guys, thank you for tuning in. The comments are brilliant as always. If you can like, subscribe. If you want to put your man of the matches in the comment section, feel free. But we know it's Saliba. The poll said it all. But yeah, hopefully we move on to next week. Leicester. Hopefully Arsenal continue to do what they're doing at the moment. So I'm looking forward to it. King, pleasure as always. Brenny, love seeing you again, bruv.
Bless,
And
man.
we are out of here.